Hello, SPED 2010 students. I don't know when you're watching this, but I'm recording it February 16th. So I wanted to jump on here and go over the last week of this module, which is week 5. But before I do that, I wanted to go over and remind you that this Sunday on the 26th, next Sunday on the 26th, February 26th, is when your interview or your journal peer review article or report is due. So you'll see here, I've had some questions on where you can find it. Like I've mentioned before, all of the major assignments, service learning, resources, how you'll be assessed, that important information is always going to be in Module 1. Module 2 through 4 is going to be our weekly content. So if you go under Module 1, under Getting Started, and you click on Major Assignments, you're going to see both the interview and article report. So not this Sunday on the 19th, but next Sunday, the 26th, is when you have to complete and turn in either your interview or your journal peer-reviewed article. Now remember, you don't do both, you just choose which one. Also, what's due is going to be your referral form. Now, I have to mention that I've had several. I'm in the process of getting placed. We need to make sure that we are turning those referral forms in. So go ahead and get them turned in. I have been in contact with lots of students. It's important for you to have this done because we have to get you placed. Think about it. In a couple weeks, it's going to be spring break, right? And you need to be mindful of the schools schedule and when their spring break is. So that could be a whole week you can't do anything. So please be mindful of this. Check when their spring break is. If you haven't completed I've emailed a few people, but if you haven't completed some of the important pre-document paperwork, you need to get in touch with me so we can discuss that. So what's due next Sunday, February 26th, is going to be your interview peer-reviewed article as well as the referral form is due. I mean, it's just you have to put it in there. There's no other time. We need to get it done now so we can get you placed. We are on a time crunch. So let's go ahead and jump into week 5. Now remember, each module has 5 weeks. So that means that week 5 is our last week of this module. Then we are going to be going into the next module. So there will be a test. So let's go ahead and discuss that. So the exam, you have no quizzes in this course. They're just tests or exams. I call them quizzes, but you just have one at the end of each module. If you'll see here, your first quiz is going to open February 27th and close March 5th. That is a long window of opportunity for you to take it. You will have one attempt at the quiz or the test, so please prepare, study. I actually emailed you out a review sheet, a study guide. In each week, I give you Quizlets, I give you Nearpod quiz reviews, so please take advantage of that. Even though it is open book, I always tell students study ahead of time because you don't want to spend your time sitting there looking through trying to find the answers. So just make sure that you're prepared before you hit begin quiz or begin test. So that's not actually going to open until the 27th of February. When it opens, you're more than welcome to do it whenever you feel comfortable. I went ahead and sent this study guide out early, even though we're not done with week 5, because I want you to have time to study. So let's go back to week 5, which is what we're going to be doing this week. Okay, remember the first week we spent orientation, then the next week after that we actually got into Module 2. So some of us have already started in our other classes. You've had a test maybe 2 weeks ago, and that's fine, but for us our schedule's a little different because we spent that first week talking about our assignments, talking about Module 1, so some of you may be thinking we're behind, but we're not. That's just how this course is laid out. So if we click on week 5, this week we're really going to be diving into the categories of disability under IDEA. So IDEA, when we talk about that, it's talking about Individuals Disability Education Act. Now, I call IDEA, they reauthorized it in 2004, and it became the Individuals Disability Education Improvement Act, but I always just refer to it as the IDEA. But we're really going to be talking about disabilities and those 13 categories under IDEA, and what are the highest incidents of disability. So you're going to be doing some reading. So the reading and all the learning activities and our assessments in this week are really going to help you be able to look at the different laws, look at the different categories of disability, which is one of our course outcomes. Describe the different categories of disabilities identified by IDEA and the Tennessee State Department of Education. So we need to know that. So the lesson this week is really going to help us meet that course learning outcome. So you'll be reading in Chapter 5 in Exceptional Learners textbook. You will be looking at the IDEA website. We're going to have something about least restrictive environment from the IRIS Center. We're going to have some resources for you about Part B under IDEA. We are also going to have you visit the Tennessee Department of Education website, and you're going to be looking at that. There is a worksheet that you will be completing. You will also have, for assessments, you will be doing the worksheet and submitting that to me. Okay. Also, what we'll be doing this week, for the week of February 20th through the 26th, is going to be your interview or your peer-reviewed article, and then of course your referral confirmation form for service learning. That's also due. Then they have the quiz. So the quiz opens on the 27th, but I went ahead and put that there to let you be aware. So as far as the keywords and concepts, I want us to think about IDEA, those 13 categories under disability. What does IDEA mean? We're going to be looking at least restrictive environment and then continuum of services. So in Chapter 5 in Exceptional Learners textbook, which you're going to be reading out of, this chapter, I've got it out so I can look at it with you. This chapter is really going to look at learners with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Okay, so when you're looking at this, it's going to talk about intellectual disabilities as adaptive behavior. You're going to be looking at the classification of intellectual disabilities. It's going to talk about Down syndrome, Alzheimer's. It's going to talk about different other developmental disabilities and their causes. So I really want you to read Chapter 5. The other textbook you're going to read out is Chapter 8 in the A Teacher's Guide to Special Education. So that starts on page 126. And in that, it's really going to be talking about those related services that are provided to students who receive special education services. It's going to talk to you about continuum of services and what does that mean. It's going to talk about a little bit about co-teaching. So this is going to give you some background knowledge even further, because that will help with your co-teaching assignment. Okay. What are the related services and how are they related to IEP, which is one of our objectives. And then who provides services. So you make sure that you read that as well. Then I have a resource here for you for the least restrictive environment and what that means. Sorry, it's taking a minute to load. Okay, so make sure that you look at this, because this does follow under IDEA. This is a guiding principle, so make sure that you read this, because I will attest you on it. So this is a wonderful resource for you to click and save on your device for later. So be sure to look at that. Okay, I listed the resources here. A Teacher's Guide to Special Education book, the 13 categories under IDA. Make sure you look at that as well. Okay, so I have a presentation here for you that's talking about the different disabilities of categories. Make sure you review that PowerPoint because I will be testing you on this, the disability categories. So make sure you look at those, and it goes over the 13 categories of disabilities. So please make sure you look at that as well. Now, let's go ahead and get into the assignment. So whenever you click on week 5, you have your learning resources here that are available to you. But you also have a section called assignments. So you're going to have an assignment, which is a worksheet that you're going to be completing. I also went ahead and put on here your Dropbox for the interview or journal report. That way you know it's due, as well as your service learning referral form. And then I went ahead and included the Module 1 quiz review again. The study guide I emailed out to everyone, but I went ahead and put that in there for you as well. So the review for Quizlet is really to help you study, because I will be asking you questions about the 13 categories of disability under IDA on the test, so make sure that you review those. So let's look at the assignment and what you're going to actually turn in. Okay, so you're going to read from the website 13 categories of disability. So what I want you to do is you're going to read at these different disability categories, know what they are, what they involved. These are falling under IDEA. So IDEA really requires public schools to provide special education for those. It covers, for those students who are eligible, it covers 13 categories. So make sure that you look through those. Remember, not all students who struggle qualify. They have to meet these guidelines. They have to follow under one of these disability categories. Now, to be covered, the child's performance in school has to be adversely affected for them to qualify. So these are the disabilities that IDA feels that students can qualify for special ed in these categories. I also told you on overview, I wanted you to go to the Tennessee Department of Education. I put a link here for you. So if you go into week 5 and you go back to overview, I want you to go to the Tennessee Department of Education. And in here, you're going to look at disability evaluations and eligibility. Okay? Because remember, not only do you need to know IDA's 13 categories of disability, you need to also know the state in which you live. So we're going to click on that. Oh, but you don't have to click on that, they're underneath here. The reason that we're doing this is because this is going to help you with your assignment. If you look at the 13 categories, you will also see that Tennessee recognizes 2 additional categories. An additional category. So let's go back to the assignment. Okay, so what you'll do is you're going to visit the special evaluation, the Tennessee Department of Education. Okay, you're going to look at the categories underneath where it says disability evaluations eligibility. You're also going to read the categories of disability under Part B of IDEA. You're going to use both of those resources to complete this worksheet. And that worksheet is worth 10 points, and you will be submitting it to Dropbox. So I want to pull up the worksheet so you know what we're doing. Okay. So what I want you to do is you'll put your name, of course. Then you're going to use that website, Part B under IDEA, and you're going to list the 13 categories required. Okay, now you'll look here. IDEA has an optional category called developmental delay. That's listed for you. What I want you to do now is you're going to look at the Tennessee Department of Education's disability categories and see if they match up and recognize disability categories just like IDEA. So if you had autism, you'd put autism. Well, does Tennessee have autism listed as part of their disability categories that they recognize? Yes. So it's the same as IDA, so you'll check yes. If not, you'll put no. I also want you to list any additional disability categories that Tennessee recognizes. That's in addition to the 13 categories that IDA recognizes. Okay? So the whole point of this website is for you to become familiar with the categories, to name them, list them, that IDA recognizes. You also need to know Tennessee's Department of Education disability categories. Which ones do they recognize? Are they the same as IDEA? Or do they have any additional? If they do, you need to list them over here. And that's what you will put into Dropbox. So if you go to Assessments, you hit Dropbox, you will see it is under Weekly Assignments, and it's called Disability Categories. Okay, so you'll put it there. Okay, that's what you will be doing this week as far as for week 5. I didn't give you a bunch because I know that you're going to be studying for your quiz. So again, there's the study guide. The quiz will open on February 27th at 8 a.m. and it will close on March 5th at 11:59 p.m. So you have that whole week of opportunity, that whole window to do it. So just like I said, study, be prepared before you open and begin the quiz, because you only have one attempt. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm available. If you have any questions about the interview or the journal article report, feel free. Also want to remind you to, once again, if you have not contacted the principal, you should be doing that now. The referral form should be completed. I know some of us are in the process of getting theirs completed. I gave us extra couple weeks. Normally I want it 2 weeks before this time, but I understand that sometimes it's hard to get the principals and get them with their schedule. That's why I extended it and gave you till 26th. But we have to get that done. We're running out of time. I would also advise you, if you are actually placed, to make sure that you know when their spring break is. That way you can make sure to work your schedule around that. But as always, if you have any questions, I'm here. I can meet on the phone, I can meet on Teams, I can meet in person, or we can just email each other. I will talk to you guys next week. I hope you have a great week. And until then, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.